He owns the tithe. No, my friend, he owns it all. He owns the love offering. No, he owns it all. He owns the leftovers. No, he owns everything. And when we view our wealth like that, then suddenly being generous and giving is exciting because, by the way, we're not giving away our money. It's his money. And we're just doing what he told us, who owns it all, to do. Because he told us to be generous. See, we're just asset managers for the Lord. We're doing what the owner, God himself, tells us to do with his money. Are you catching that? And that's why this is, see, again, money is not the problem. It's the way we're perhaps handling it. The key is when we think of ourselves as the owner, it's difficult to understand and to get a grip on this thing of being generous because we think we own it. You say, well, Pastor, you know, I work hard and I break my back. I thank God you got a back to break. God made you. God made you with that mind and gave you those abilities to do that. And sometimes it's like a clenched fist. And when we do that, we just say, that's mine, that's mine. It's like a 2-year-old typist yelling. You know, you can tell perhaps over the nursery, the little babies, that's my toy, that's mine, that's mine. And it's that selfishness that we have. Folks, we need to see ourselves as managers. We need to see ourselves that we gratefully receive what God passes on to us. Enjoy the use of that money, of course, to take care of our families and then pass that money on and have a generous spirit. Why? Because that's what the owner of the money tells us to do. He tells us to be a generous person. God wants generosity to be part of our life. He's entrusting us that all that money and those goods to use for, yes, ourselves and our families, but he's also entrusting us to manage his money the way he wants. Catch this, folks. It'll revolutionize your life. They realize that we don't own it, it's God's, and that we're to be the steward. See, the word steward, remember you used to have stewardship campaigns and so forth. Steward is an old English word that means managing the affairs of others. But the problem is, again, so many are just chained in bondage financially. And they're a slave to money. And so many today, their marriages are not healthy because of it. Do you realize that marriage counselors today say that couples will have a healthy marriage if they have 4 major things in place? First of all, their faith in place. The second thing they tell us is you need to be in agreement on your parenting and the way you're going to parent children. The third thing is your in-laws. There need to be boundaries, influence. Might put your hands over your ears. The fourth thing is money. If you're not on the same page with your spouse, with your finances, you are destined for trouble. And don't say amen because some of you have already been there. Citibank did a study that 57% divorced couples said that money fights were one of the reasons they don't get along and were divorced. How do you tell whether or not someone's in bondage and a slave to money, or money is their master, or materialism is their master? You say, well, it's the rich people that have that. Folks, that's not true. Some of the poorest people that I know are slaves to money. Let me give you a few things. Again, they're not in your notes. If you want to jot them down, you can. Number 1, here's how to tell whether or not a person is a slave to money or money is their master. Number 1, you are far more excited about getting money than giving money. You're far more excited about getting money than giving it. I've come to the place, my wife and I thank God we're on the same page on this thing, that being a generous person and seeing how God can use us in areas of generosity, it blesses our heart. This past year, we were able to be generous to many different people. Not from the church's coffers, I'm talking about from our own pockets. To be able to use what God's blessed us with, to be able to give. It's exciting to be generous and to help and to be a blessing. It's exciting to be in a McDonald's. Yes, I do at McDonald's once in a while. In a McDonald's drive-thru and just say, hey, the person in front of you, I'm paying their bill. And watching your reaction. Some of you have never done that because you say, well, I just can't do that. They don't know. And the devil talked us out of it. Let me tell you, folks, it'll make your day if you just have that spirit of generosity all the time in your life. The second thing, whether or not we can tell whether or not someone's a slave to money or money's your master, is you are placing normal daily expenditures on credit cards because you don't have the cash on hand. And folks, one of the greatest things you can do is take a pair of scissors this afternoon and cut up the credit cards. Amen, Pastor? That's good preaching. Credit card debt, your FICO score has gone down, 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 down. And we are living today on high interest and so forth. And God never intended his people. We are mismanaging God's money in a bad way, folks. The third thing is this. We can tell that whether or not money is your master is you don't live by a budget. My wife and I have every month, we have all our expenditures down. We have everything that we pay. And we live by a budget. And that budget is our guide. You say, well, Pastor, boy, I sure wish I could get some of this stuff. We're doing a course on financial freedom, financial peace with Dave Ramsey. We're going to start it in February, the end of I can't remember, it's in your bulletin. As a matter of fact, I'm going to be so generous that the first four couples that see me after church today, I'm paying your $100. We're going to pay your $100 because that's what it costs. We don't charge anything. That's what it costs for all the materials. We'll pay for your materials to get you, if you're that 9-week course, to get you on a path to get financial freedom.